Right, shalom, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, as always, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Wahat, Rakah, Kodash, and double honors to the elders and apostles, chiefly those of Great Millstone, and other like-minded elders in Israel that do teach well, by whom I learnt this truth for the power and spirit of Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai. Shalom wa barakatam, and to the hopeful elect and brothers and sisters that are scattered throughout the four corners, doing your due diligence in all truth and sincerity. And salutation to the Akim, laboring, man, week in, week out, the highways and the hedges, giving up their body as a living sacrifice unto Yahweh Bashim Yahushai in all truth and sincerity. This is the brother Daniela, and this is just a quick lesson I wanted to bring out in the spirit, man. Just literally a few verses in the book of Sirach, and really just some scriptural advice, man, for you brothers out there, man. So I'm going to get straight into it, and Lord willing, the lesson is edifying. This is the book of Ecclesiasticus or Sirach, chapter 8, verse 9, right? It says, sit not at all with another man's wife, nor sit down with her at thine arms, and spend not thy money with her at the wine, lest thine heart incline unto her, and so through the desire thou fall into destruction, right? So it says, sit not at all with another man's wife, because really, when you think about it, what need is there for any man to really be sitting down with another man's wife, And the fact that we've come so far away from our ancient customs, right? The ways of old, for a man to sit down with another man's wife now, wouldn't really be looked on as anything too bad, in the sense of, you may be at your friend's house, at a brother's house, and his wife or his partner might be there, and you end up having having a conversation between the three of you, which I suppose is a bit different. But even then, when you look back to the ancient times, the men conversated with the men, and the women would be, off doing whatever they were doing. Even growing up myself, I was blessed enough to have my mother and my father there, right? And when my dad had his friends around or brothers around, my mum wasn't in the room conversating with them. She'd be either in the kitchen or whatever else she's doing, right? And that's the spirit of old. That's the spirit of ancient. And like I said, now in this westernized world, you could all go to your friend's house. He may not be there, and you may end up all sitting down, talking, reasoning with his woman, for a few hours, which is really off. Because really nothing's gonna come out of it at the end of the day. Is the point. But what can come out of it, right? Let me read from the top, right? Sirach chapter 8, verse 9, right? It says, sit not at all with another man's wife, nor sit down with her in thine arms, because really that's just straight up wicked, man. That's just straight up wicked. You really have no need to be sitting there conversating with another man's wife or another man's woman. Really. And if you feel like you do, then you have to ask yourself the question of why. And the reason that happens a lot today is because a lot of men are in the spirit of a woman today, that Queen of Heaven spirit, where they'll see absolutely nothing wrong with doing that. Because to be honest, most of men today are clueless, as well as the women, right? When it comes to order, when it comes to the biblical way of doing things and biblical procedure, man, right? Concerning righteousness. So even when I think of, my two brothers I have, right? Both of them have wives, and they've been with their wives for 10 plus years now. And I can't remember a time where I've ever sat down and conversated with any of them, You may have hi, how are you? How are the children? But, it should never really go any further than that, because really what need is there to, especially be sitting down, just you and her talking and reasoning about stuff. Because, it could go further than that, man. Because it says what? It says, and spend not thy money with her at the wine, right? Lest thine heart incline unto her. Because that's what could end up happening, because at the end of the day, you're a man and she's a woman, You could end up sitting down with her, conversating with her, start spending your money on her, right? Drinking and shit together. And this has happened many a time to many men. And this is one of the reasons why adultery is so high within our nation, because people be doing things like this and thinking it's just nothing. But what can happen is that as a man, your heart can incline unto her. And the same, because when the women desire attention, and it may not be something she's getting from her husband at home, right? So if you're a man, if you're a man and you're showing your friend or your brother's wife more attention than he is, then she might incline unto you, vice versa, right? And that's why there's really no need for any man to be sitting down and spending his time with any other man's wife, man. You know, not none of us, man. And the thing about is, a true man of Yahweh Shem Yahushua with understanding is going to understand that. I'm going to understand the reasons why, like the scriptures explain, why not to, right? Because at the end of the day, we're all still humans, and there's a natural way about us, you know. Like I say, women are going to gravitate to attention and security, you know. They're always looking for the strongest male, innit? You know. And men are what? They're always looking at a woman's beauty, right? That's why I believe it says in the book of Proverbs, if I'm not mistaken, it says, stumble not at a woman's beauty, you know. Hey, well, it says it here. Let me read up a verse, all right? I start up from Sirach chapter 8, verse 8. It says, turn thine eye from a beautiful woman, right? And look not upon another's beauty. He says, for many have been deceived by the beauty of a woman. For herewith love is kindled as a fire. Yeah, man. And that's exactly why, you're not really meant to be stumbling at the beauty of a woman. Now, again, every man loves a beautiful woman, man. That's just in us naturally, right? But you're not meant to be, what's the word? You're not meant to be being caught up in that, really. Was it the scripture say, Proverbs again, that she batteth her eyelids, her hands are as bands, snares and nets. And that's what men can get caught up on, the beauty of a woman, right? But it said what? It says, look not upon another's beauty, for many have been deceived by the beauty of a woman. And especially in this day and age, because of the makeup, the level of because even in the ancient days, when you read the scriptures, I think the only time you'd read about a woman putting on makeup was Jezebel or harlots, But that's a spirit a lot of our women are in today. That same spirit, man. And that's why they cake their faces with layers upon layers of makeup. And even in the word itself, makeup, you're making up what you look like, because that's not what you truly look like. And really, it's a form of witchcraft, man, because you are making yourself up and deceiving others, And I know brothers have seen those videos going around, man, over the last few years of, a woman that might not be the most attractive woman. She might all be in her 70s. But as soon as you start applying that makeup, right? As soon as you start dealing in that high level witchcraft, because at the end of the day, that's all it is. A man can be deceived by that. Wake up next morning, the makeup's on the pillow, and then the true version of that woman is revealed, and you're like, God damn, like, this ain't the same person. That's why it said what? It says, for many have been deceived by the beauty of a woman, for herewith love is kindled as a fire. So it's a dangerous game to play. It says, sit not at all with another man's wife, nor sit down with her in thine arms, and spend not thy money with her at the wine. And the thing about that is, as well, is like I say, men's minds they're not dealing in the same way they did in the ancient days. So I've got certain people I know, certain friends I might go and visit from time to time, right? And they might not necessarily care if their woman's speaking to you, or even if you speak to their woman, right? But the man of the Lord, right? There's always going to be a spirit on us. Always going to be thinking in the back of our mind, this conversation don't need to be had. Even if you think about it in hindsight, you might go home and be like, there was no need for me to have a conversation with that man's partner. Even if he didn't mind, he might have left the room. He might have gone to the shop. whatever, right? He might not even be there, and you're there, and he tell you, oh, wait for me, my wife's home. Now, this is not how we dealt in the ancient days, but this has become normality now. But really, it's not the spirit to be moving in. For example, say you're going to visit your friend or your brother, right? And he tell you, I'm not there yet, wait there for me, my wife is home. Really, in the spirit, you're meant to be in a spirit of, well, I'll wait for you to get home. I'll wait for you to get home. And then I'll come. Because why? Because you're going to be what? The scripture says that a wise man feareth in everything, right? So you're going to be constantly thinking, okay, well, is this conducive? Like, at the end of the day, like, there's a possibility if man sit down with her, that man's heart could incline to her, right? It's a possibility, man. Right? So what? They say prevention is better than a cure, right? And it's that simple. That's why in that situation, really what you should do is wait for your brethren or your friend to get back, instead of going and actually sitting down and reasoning with his woman and that, man. It's just off, and that's the point of this lesson, man. Because today, in today's society, that's not looked on as anything bad, but that could lead to adultery, man, which which we know in the ancient days will be punishable by death, right? So again, prevention is better than cure, man, right? It says, "Sit not down with another man's wife, nor sit down with her in thine arms," and that's going a step further. That's totally wicked. You again, going back to the example of you go and wait for your friend at his house, his wife's there, and then you get there, she's crying her eyes out. She's crying her eyes out. And you feel like you want to console her, because you're a caring guy, right? So you want to console her. So the next thing you end up hugging her. You know, next thing it leads to something else, so on and so forth. And these things can easily happen. And hence why we have the scriptures that give us perfect advice on how to deal with certain situations. This situation concerning you inclining to another man's woman, sitting down with her, even consoling her. She's got a man for that, man. The scripture says, roughly paraphrasing Salakia, it says that the woman should be in subjection unto the man, right? And if she learn anything, let her ask her husband at home. And I've been meditating on that a lot recently, because one of the first things that we should be doing when dealing with women at camp, right, is asking them if they're married. Now, me myself have made the mistake of dealing with a woman at camp. When I say dealing, I mean, edifying her, at camp. But the first question we should be asking them is whether they have a husband. And that's order at the end of the day. That's order at the end of the day. Because even that could go a step further than it needs to go. You might end up taking that sister's number to where, you can edify her on the phone or whatever. Then come to find out she got a man. Then come to find out you've messed up her relationship. So really the best thing, again, prevention is better than cure, man. And the scriptures has all the answers on how to deal with things. So it says, sit not down with her in thine arms, and spend not thy money with her at the wine. Right. So you definitely shouldn't be sitting down drinking with your brothers or your friends' missus, man. That's off. Right. Especially if he's not there. And even if he is there, you're meant to be an example. Even if he doesn't have this wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, you're meant to be an example unto him. Right. And by that, what you're glorifying Yahweh Shem Yahushai. Right. It says, lest thine heart incline unto her, and so through thy desire thou fallest into destruction. Yeah. Because there's many things that can come out of that, man. Like I say, there's a scripture that talks about the rage of jealousy. Now, I'm not even going to paraphrase it because I'll brutalize it, but the scriptures talk about that jealousy, man, that men have, especially towards their women, because a woman is what your wife is, your property, your possession, So there's many men that have died because of that, because, a man's heart has inclined unto another man's wife. Now, jealousy and rage have overtaken that man, and he has killed his brother, And I'm talking about blood. It could be blood brother. You know, these are things that happen. That's why it said what it says. It says, "Lest thou fall into destruction." You know. So hey, man, this was just a quick lesson going into the fact that just think before you act, especially when it comes to sitting down with another man's wife. You know, and it's that easy. It's that simple for you to start desiring her, your heart, and start inclining unto her. That's why it's best to just avoid that situation altogether, man. Altogether, you know. So with that, anyway, Lord willing, the lesson was edifying in some way, shape, or form. Until the next one, man, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Waharaka Kodash, and Shalom to the elect. Shalom.